Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to 7.3.6 Easy Path for Completion. We are gonna attempt the Acid Wash, Toxicant and Readable Determination path because of it does not have any effect on the difficulty of the boss, that is going to be Kang. So when you go through this path, there is no node that affects the boss, so this is much more easier to deal with the boss as it is. So the defenders are right up there. The difficult one is going to be an Emma Frost. To make sure you bring in a armor break champion with a lot of crits so you can bring her down very easily. So I would suggest you to bring champions like Elsa Bloodstone, like Corvus Glaive. Even hit monkey with one of synergy would also work, but you don't need that. You can work it without it. So yeah, make sure that there should be one armor break champion that is there to deal with Emma Frost. And apart from that, you can bring in any champion. Like the MVPs will be the poison and basic attack, so champions like your Labyrinth Ultron, your Abominations, your Diablo, Black Widow Clairvoyant and Archangel are going to will work amazingly well here. Apart from that, you can also bring in champions that have compounding damage. So for example, the more hits you are on your counter, the more damage they will do. So Aegon, Star-Lord, G2099, She-Hulk, Strive, all of them work here. Now, this lane is very similar to 7.3.4 Thunderstruck. There you needed shock champions, here you need poison champions. So just keep that in mind, and there is a whole section on Kang, how to go around him, explaining all the mechanics of him. So stay tuned till the video. And our mastery setup is going to be the same. The defense and the utility is going to remain the same. I'm going to attempt this path with non-suicide. You can actually attempt this path with suicide as well if you want. So because the path is really suicide Corvus friendly, so and you can use Corvus. He works really well on the boss as well. Now before we jump onto the path guys, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on the post notifications and leave a comment down below. All of that really helps me out a lot and helps me grow the channel. Now the first one is going to be a Luke Cage. Now again, Luke Cage is a very easy and simple defender to deal with. His specials can be easily evaded. I'm gonna bring in an Elsa Bloodstone to showcase you guys you can bring in high critical damage champions and use them. So whenever you will hit the opponent, there is a chance that they will get a poison from Toxicant node, and that will help you towards Acid Wash. Now Acid Wash is the defenders will not take 100% damage unless there is a poison debuff on them. So keeping that in mind, Elsa Bloodstone works really well. You don't have to use your specials. I am just using them to get those precision charges on me to do more crits. You can do it without. I have done this fight with Aegon as well. I have done this fight with Star-Lord as well, and also Diablo. So all of those champions work, but I would suggest you to go with the class advantage so you can finish off the fight much quicker. Next up is going to be Sabretooth. Now can be really annoying because of his passive regen. His specials are easily evadable, but then again his animations are so quick that you get clipped. I do get clipped a couple of times here, but I am using Black Widow Clairvoyant, so I will be healing back up. Now with Black Widow Clairvoyant, you can just switch to your poison mode. Even if you're using suicides, you switch to poison mode, and then you can keep hitting into him. And once you have 2 bars of power, you can decide if you want to heal yourself up. You can go back to your bleed immune mode, or if you want to do more damage, you can go to your incinerate immune mode. So and it's up to you depending on what you need. I switch back and forth with all of them. So yeah, Black Widow Claymore is a good option here. So is Diablo. You can stack all of those poisons, but remember, the more debuffs you have, the more power rate you will have because of redoubled determination. So just be careful not to push him to an SP3, and that's about it. You can also bring in Ultron. Ultron will melt all of these mutants very easily, and also Star-Lord is a good option here, or your Aegon can also work, but I would suggest you to bring in champions that can kill him off. His region can be really annoying at times. Next up is going to be Thor Ragnarok. Now, this is a very good place for you to get 2 charges on your Corvus, one for the Avenger and one for the Auto Block. So I'm going to use a Corvus because I'll use Corvus on Emma Frost as well upcoming. So I need an armor break champion with some critical, so Corvus will be the best option. So I am not worrying about how many charges I have. All I'm trying to do is only use my SP2 when there is a poison on the opponent. And also um, with the power gain on Thor Ragnarok with Boon of the Gods, I'm just careful to always have a special attack, so not push him to an SP3. So just be careful about that. This is not the best fight I've done. You can do this fight without losing any HP, but I was just taking quite a few damage. But that's okay. I just need the 2 charges and get rid of Emma Frost, and then I wouldn't be needing Corvus. So this is a good place to build up any one of your champions if you need to. Next defender is going to be a very pesky Nightcrawler. Now he is going to be evading you so much. I just used Mole Man, which is the easiest way to stop him from evading, and I can just switch his stance, and now I can go into him and start hitting into him. I will try to always keep at 8 monster mass, or if I activate my frenzy, I will do it when I have the ability, the true sensibility. But you can use it the champions well. I have done this fight during testing with Corvus as well, and I've also done this fight with Star-Lord as well. They are very efficient of killing him off, and all other poison champions work as well. The only thing you need to worry about with those ones is to switch him early. The earlier you switch his stance, the easier it is. Then his SP1 and SP2 are very easily evadable, so the whole thing with this fight is to switch his stance so he does not evade, and rest is a very straightforward fight. If you have brought in Corvus, you can also get one more charge here, so that will be your third charge. And if you have brought in synergy with Proxima Midnight, then you will already have the true strike ability from the last Thor Ragnarok, so this will become an easier fight if you're a Corvus user and you're gonna run suicides. And next is going to be a green goblin. Now he is a metal champion, as well as he will give you the fourth and final chorus charge, so you can use that as well here. But I'm going to use a Black Widow Clairvoyant just to clear him off quick. And again, the same thing, I have Diablo as well on my roster, but I was more thinking about the Kang boss, that's why I didn't bring him. Diablo also works really well here. Honestly, any champion that can apply poison on basic attacks will work. You can also use an Archangel, but do not use parry and heavy. Just use your basic attacks and the poisons will stack up. Again, Star-Lord also works here. This is a much patient fight with him going to SP2s very often, so you need to be good at evading the special 2s. I am using Black Widow Clairvoyant so I can heal back up any damage that I take with her SP2. I am just trying to survive this fight and not lose a champion, because I will need all of my 5 champion up when I go to Kang. And I'm gonna switch out Black Widow Clairvoyant anyway. And the final defender is the most annoying of the whole path. Now, I have done it with Corvus, it looks much easier than it is, but she gets really annoying because she will remove poisons when she goes into her crystal form. She will also remove poison if you were knock her down. So you really need a champion that does armor break on basic hits, and then you can rely on the Toxicant node to apply poison on her so you can bypass acid wash. So for this one, I've given you lots of different options. Captain America with a tech champion, Carnage can uh, do on his basic attacks. Th- um, Thor OG can work here. Also, any of your armor break champions that can armor break on basic attacks will work really well here. Even your Silver Surfer with the heavy attack, you don't have to hit the opponent, you can just armor break them. Same goes with your Spidey OG. So all of these champions work good against her. You just need to make sure that you have constant armor break on her, and you wait for the poison, and when you have the poison on her and armor break, you just throw your specials and do as much damage. This fight is going to be annoying, just giving you a forewarning, so make sure that you bring in the right counter for her because she can make or break your path. Now before we jump on to the boss fight, there's a lot to deal with. This is his ability breakdown. Don't worry about it, we'll go on it one by one and talk about it, and I will also go through them once we are in the fight. So the first thing you need to know is the power loop. So these are going to be icons that are going to come underneath the bar of Kang, a bar of power, bar of health of Kang, and that will give you the prompts what kind of special attack you need to use. So if it says 0, you need to have less than 1 bar of power for it to complete that, and if it says 1, you have to use an SP1, you have to use an SP2 or an SP3. So make sure to check those ones out, and once you complete that prompt, you get you get a power charge. Now once you have enough power charges, you can do a time collapse. That is essentially a wounded state from the Grandmaster. On Kang we call it time collapse. So on phase 1 you need 3 power charges to do that, on phase 2 you need 4, and in phase 3 you need 6. Now once we understand that concept, let's jump into another thing. We need to understand that there are two very important things. One, you can use your heavy attacks to pause the timer on the power loop charges. So for example, if it asks you to go from 0 bar of power to 3 bars of power, it can be difficult. It took me 2 to 3 tries to figure it out that the heavy attacks are going to be very helpful. So if you're at 0 bar of power, or if at 1 and it asks you to go 3, you can just parry and use your heavy and pause the timer, and that will help you hit the opponent more, and then he can throw an SP1 to help you get up to 3 bars of power. More on that later in the fight. And the second thing you need to remember that these power charges are cross-fight abilities, and they carry forward with the same attacker. So for example, if you're using a Star-Lord for the fight and you took 4 power charges and then you died, when you use a single revive and you go back into the fight again, you still have this 4 power charges. You just need 2 more and you can time collapse the opponent. You don't have to start over and collect those charges again. So that is something that makes this fight super easier and saves you a lot of team revives, and you can use only single revives. Also, another thing to remember is very important is whenever Kang will use as SP1, he will throw 3 beams at you. So if you dex the beam, you will power gain. If you block them, you will get power drain. But if it hits you, you will be stunned for 2.40 seconds. So that's something to keep in mind, and that all these mechanics are gonna work really closely. So the first thing to remember is going to power loop, then heavy attacks to prolong the power loop prompts. Third one is going to be that those abilities are those power charges are going to be cross-fight, and how the SP1 will give you power drain or power gain. So keeping all of them in mind, let's jump into the phases. Phase 1 is going to be a very simple one that is giving you an intro to how the power loop works. So just have to have 3 power charges, and for 8 seconds you will time collapse Kang, and you can do your damage and bring him down to 90%. After that, in phase 2, it's same, just a few changes there. As an attacker, you will gain 1 bar of power every second, and the cost of special attacks on both champions will reduce by 50%. And also, when the power gain from SP1 Dex on Kang is going to be increased by 50% as well. And there are going to be furies when on Kang whenever he will give you a prompt. So the faster you complete the prompt, those furies will be transferred to you, and the delay you do, every 2.2 seconds the fury will be reduced. More on that later when we get into the fight. And phase 3 is from 50% to 3% HP. You will need 6 power charges to time collapse him. So this is going to be your longest phase. It might annoy you quite a bit because you're going to lose your power, 1% bar of power every second. And if you use the same type of attack to end your combo, like if you lost in 2 times in a row, so if you use like the 5th attack as light and also heavy 2 times direct in a row, so that is going to power drain you. So that's something to keep in mind. And also the power drain effect from FC1 is increased by 50%. So whenever the Kang will use SP1, your power drain will drain you more power. So more on it and how it affects the fight, we'll discuss it later. And the phase 4 is going to be from 2 to 0%. Now here the power loop will be destroyed, it will not be there, so you will not get any more prompts for what kind of special you're going to use. Damage reduction will be increased to 100% against all attacks from Kang except SP3, so you can only do damage to Kang with an SP3. And depending on the proximity, the attacker, you will gain 25% bar of power every second, and Kang will gain 18% bar of power every second. And Kang will be unblockable, and his SP1 and SP2 will be locked, so it will be a race to who gets to an SP3 first and uses that. I would suggest you to use 3 hit combos and stay near him to get SP3 faster. Depending on what rank champions you have, you might need 2 champions here. Again, we will discuss this more as we go through the fight. So I hope all of this is clear. I've tried to break it down in the most easiest and simplest way. If you still have questions, leave them in the comment down below and I will help you out and explain that in more detail. So let's jump into the fights and see how does it work out. So starting off the fight, you will notice on the top right there are going to be 2 prompts. One is your current one with the cooldown timer, and the other one is what is going to be next. So that is very important to plan your path. So right now I'm staying below 0 bar of power, and as soon as I go up I will push him to an SP1 and I will try to dex his SP1 3 beams to get 2 bars of power. So it's very important not to parry him much, just try to dex so you can trigger his specials. And once you do that, you can gain power or drain power depending on what you need. The power manipulation from SP1 you can check on the right side of the screen. Now I've completed 3 prompts, and then with Corvus I'm very quickly down to the first phase. Through that I brought him down to 90% HP, and now I'm going into my phase 2, that is from 90 to 51%. Here the power gain from dexing SP1 from Kang is increased by 50%, and as an attacker I gain 1% bar of power every second, up to 7% if I use my specials, and after that reset it to 1 again. And the cost of specials for both of the champions is reduced by 50%. Here the hardest prompt will be getting to 0. 3 bars of power you can get to 2 as well, but 0 is going to be tough. I'm just gonna dex, gain power, and with block I'm gonna drain my power and use an SP2. Now the difficult one is going to be 0. I dex the whole special just out of habit, and then I realized I need to be at 0. So what I'm trying to do is to throw my SP3 so I can lose 50% of the power, and then I'm gonna block his specials, all 3 beams, and go below 1 bar of power so I can complete the 0 prompt. Just right there, and I'm trying to stay away so I can get that 3rd power charge. Now I need only 1 more to time collapse him, and because there's increased power gain I can very easily get to an SP3. And now I'm waiting for my charges to refresh, and then I'm gonna throw an SP3. I will have him collapsed and I have all the charges. I just need to use one SP1 and he will be down to 50%. Again guys, if you have any questions regarding that, leave them in the comment section. I will try to answer all of them. So once we bring him down to 50%, this is the annoying phase that starts. That is your phase number 3. There will be a small preparation phase in which he will be defensive first and then he will try to attack you with aggressive mode. Once that is done, then he will go on the prompts again in the power loop. Now here the hardest one will be to going up to your SP3. So if you have a Hyperion, he works really well here, or any power gain champions that will help you stay at SP3, because as an attacker you will lose 1 bar of power every time. 1 bar of power, so you won't be able to be on SP3 and sit on it. You will constantly gain and lose power all the time. So the way you counter that is either you bring in a champion like Hyperion, or when you have 3 bars of power and you lose like 1%, you go in after Kang throws an SP1 and you go in and attack him, and as soon as you get 3 bars of power you use the SP3. So that can be tricky sometimes. It can be a hit or a miss, so that's something that will come with practice. But again, for this space specifically, if you have a Hyperion, he works really well. Now again, just going through the prompts and the phases, I am at 0, so I will give him some power, preparing for the next phase, but I will not push him above 1 bar because I have to complete the 0 one right here. And now I will just parry and push him above 1 bar of power. Now I will go with Dex, Dex and Dex, and in that way I'll be above 2 bars of power. Now again, it can be a little tricky to control. I'm waiting for him to throw a special. I couldn't, and that gave me damage. So whenever you will miss a prompt, you will get certain amount of damage on you. This is Kang's base abilities. There is no node that is affecting him, so this is like the vanilla version of Kang, and he is different and difficult with other lanes as you go. So right here you notice I had to do an SP3 and I was losing power constantly and not staying on SP3. So what I like to do is you use a special attack as soon as I land the 3rd hit or the 5th hit medium. That gives me SP3 and I just press it very quickly and I can complete that prompt. So that is something that you will have to look out for and be careful for. Otherwise, if you have an Hyperion, he is the perfect counter for this path, so you can bring him, and Hyperion also works for the last path as well. Again, I would suggest you to really boost up your champions when you go in these fights, because you will need the damage, and especially for the upcoming phase that is going to be phase 4. So yeah, just be wary about that. Now it will be very normal for you to lose champions, so don't worry about it. The best part about this fight design is your power charges are going to be carried over. Once you die, you can revive the same champion and you can continue the power loop. So right now I am at 4 charges and I'm trying to hit him with an SP2 right there. Here I used a heavy attack, so I paused the timer and I wasn't able to get that, and I take damage again. Now I have to go below 0. So this is what happens with me. Either I have a very good rhythm or I will just collapse. Most of you will go through the same. Don't worry about doing solo on him. You can use all of your 5 champions. That's why your roster is available. Just plan your path carefully. I would really suggest you to bring in Hyperion. That would be amazing. Or bring in champion that can do a lot of crit damage. So your built up Aegon will be really good here. Your Corvus will be good. Elsa Bloodstone will be really nice. If you have a Hercules, he works really well. And once he goes into time collapse, he can do all the damage. So we are down to 26%, and we will continue the same with the next champion that I'm going to use. That is going to be Mole Man as well. So I hope this phase is clear to you. Again, any questions, leave them in the comment section down below and I will try to answer them out. And in the third phase, first he will be very defensive on preparation, and then he will be a bit aggressive, and as soon as the prompt starts he will go unblockable and gain power. So you need to stay near him to gain power, and he also gains 18% bar of power every second. What I like to do is to stay nice and close to him and try to build up to an SP3, but he built up to an SP3 before me and he is gonna kill me with his SP3. Bear in mind, if you have a synergy with Heimdall, it will not work here. You will die anyway, because I had it here and did not make it. So what I changed when the next time I came in, I tried to use 2 to 3 hit combos, and with Elsa Bloodstone I tried to bring him down. Now with Elsa Bloodstone I have an added advantage that I don't need to parry him. I can just my retaliate with the revolver will help me. So right here I'm trying to build it up again. If you have a Hyperion here, Hyperion will work really well and it will give you SP3 much faster and you can beat out Kang. Now I would suggest you to use as much as boost as possible so you can kill him in one SP3, but most of the times with our rosters we won't be able to, so you will lose one champion and you will have to come back with the last champion to kill him off. So it might cost you 1 revive here, but that's okay considering how the fight is. You can get through that. Again, his specials of SP1 and SP2 will be blocked, so he is going to be a race who gets to an SP3 first, and he does not take damage from any of the swords except SP3. So you have to go to an SP3 faster. You can hit him in his block to not let him throw his specials, and once you have that you can throw a special to kill him off. I hope this fight is clear and you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful, all the tips and tricks. If you did guys, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on those post notifications. All of that really helps me a lot, and thank you for all the love you're showing on the 7.3 videos. I'll be working on the infographic next, and then I'll be starting off with the exploration video, so stay tuned to the channel guys. And apart from that, I hope you all have an amazing day and I'll see you next time.